this week we've been exploring the life cycle of our bug, and we've been thinking about how they interact socially with the bugs in their group. We've so far discussed how social bugs interact with one another and how that helps them survive, but we haven't talked much about bugs who are not a social bug. So if you have a bug that is not a social insect, you are going to be filling out the third page of our writing this week, and it's going to say at the very top, my bug is not a social insect. And what you're going to explore is when your bug does interact with other animals from its species, what happens when they do meet. And then I want you to think about four different things that might happen when your animal interacts with other animals. And if you can't find four different interactions, it's okay. I did put a template just with four interactions in case that you needed that many. I want you to think about what was the interaction? What happened when they came together, when they were together? Why did they come together? What made them interact? When and how often does this interaction take place? And then again, the bottom row, which I think is the most important row, the row where you are citing your evidence, where you're giving me the title of the book where you found this information, and also the page number where you found it. So today I'm going to be reading to you about cicadas, and I'm going to be reading to you from our eye-popping 3D bug book by Barry and Betsy Rothstein. And I've gotten so many amazing comments from the students in this class who have said, we've really enjoyed this book and I can't wait to be in the classroom so that I can actually wear the 3D glasses and see the bugs myself, and then just browse through the pages because I've learned so many cool facts. And I'm glad you enjoyed this book as much as I enjoyed this book. I don't get tired of reading it and looking at it because I've learned so many different facts from it. So today we're going to be reading about cicadas, and I'm going to try again, like I always do, to put the 3D glasses over and kind of run over it so you can see the picture. And here's a big cicada. Let's see. Oh, I think I'm doing it the wrong way. This is how I did it last time. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Oh. It's a little tricky. I need more hands. There you go. Okay. So let's read about cicadas. And as I read about cicadas, let's see what kind of clues we get from cicadas. Are they a social bug? Or do they seem like they are not a social bug? Cicadas, with their loud, sometimes pulsating buzz, pulsating, that means it feels like your pulse when you take your pulse on your wrist and it feels like it, like that, are more often heard than seen. Adults are tree dwellers, and the males are the ones responsible for all of the racket. So that means the male cicadas are the ones who make all of the noise. These large insects are usually 1 to 2 inches long, and they resemble giant flies. So 1 to 2 inches long, and they kind of look like just a really big fly. The cicada's buzz is a familiar summer sound. In fact, they are the loudest sound-producing insect in the world. Not very subtle for a mating call. Mostly tropical cicadas, but they also can thrive in milder climates. So they can live in 2 different types of ecosystems. What a life. Female cicadas lay their eggs in the smaller branches. Oh, I'm already thinking of their life cycle. They lay their eggs in the smaller branches of trees. Sometimes the twigs that hold the eggs will die and drop to the ground, where the eggs hatch. Otherwise, the newly hatched nymphs will fall to the forest floor, burrow underground, and feed by sucking fluid from the tree roots. Burrow, that means they dig under. Depending on the species, Nymphs can remain underground and take from 2 to 17 years to mature. Wow, like humans, a long time. They use their front legs, which are much bigger than the others, to finally dig their way up. The full-grown nymphs now climb the trees they hatched beneath and go through one more molt, or splitting and crawling out of their skin. So that means they grow out of it, so the skin kind of sheds. Next, it's time to mate. Let the deafening symphony begin. Most cicada species spend at least 2 years under the ground. They don't all mate and reproduce at the same time. So there are new adults emerging every year. The exception to this rule are the cicadas called the periodical cicadas, which include the 17-year cicadas. Every 17 years, these creatures emerge and begin to sing. Cicadas spend the shortest part of their lives as adults, ranging from 3 days to a couple of months. Oh my goodness, that's short. Once they've mated and laid eggs, they die. For those of us with human ears, that's a good thing. Oh, poor cicadas. Where are my earplugs? The call of the cicada is so deafening that scientists decided to measure it at close range. So deafening, so loud. 3 species measured at more than 120 decibels, comparable to the sound of a chainsaw or a train passing. Oh my goodness. It's a noise level almost too painful to hear. In fact, 85 decibels have been determined to be damaging to human ears. Fortunately, exposure to the short-lived cicada mating season has not caused any permanent damage to people. How does an insect make such a big noise? Cicadas are unique in that they have organs called tymbals, which are located at the bottom of their abdomen or their stomach, that work like little drums. Can you imagine having drums on your belly? That'd be silly. When the male contracts its inner muscles, tightens them, the membranes of the tymbal buckle inward, producing a sound. So when they suck it in, it makes that sound. On relaxing the muscles, the membrane pops back out. Contracting and relaxing produces the pulsing buzz in the cicada's song. Sounds like a workout. They must have incredible abs. That's what I was thinking. Their stomachs must be really strong. So every time they go like this, it beats, and then they're kind of pushing their stomach in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out to make that sound. It says this handsome pair has the wide heads, the bulbous eyes, and short antenna, 4 wings, and their 4 wings is typical of a cicada. It says this species, which is the large photo, from Malaysia, is considered the largest cicada in the world, reaching up to 6 inches long. So if you think of a ruler, the ones that we use in the classroom to measure, they're 12 inches long. So half of that would be 6 inches long. So some cicadas are half the size of a ruler. That is a pretty big bug. So I'm realizing that the cicadas spend a lot of their time burrowed under the ground, and they're only coming out to mate. So I am not thinking that the cicadas are a very social bug. I think that they are not a social insect, and they interact with each other in the sack when they're growing up, when they're babies. Maybe they might interact with each other when they're burrowed underground, but we didn't really read about that, so I can't make that assumption. But I definitely know that they interact with each other when they're mating, during mating season, to reproduce more eggs. It's really sad that they spend most of their life buried underground, and when they come out, they only live a short number of days or weeks, I think it said, and then they die. So most of the time that they are alive, it's under the ground, burrowed under the ground. So I don't think that they are very social animals.